What is up, guys? Delboy here. A quick post-fight review for Artur Beterbiev versus Hot Rod Kaladzic. This one is for 54 Trail Swan. After this post-fight review, I will also go on to talk about what I want to see from Beterbiev next. But all in all, I felt Beterbiev looked fairly good in dealing with Kaladzic, to be honest with you. Beterbiev started this fight in a really aggressive manner. Right away he was trying to close the distance and apply pressure on Kaladzic, who was moving on the back foot, and in the first round Artur Beterbiev nearly actually sent Kaladzic through the ropes twice, and Beterbiev in round one landed some good hard shots. He was the aggressor, and in my opinion he clearly won the round. In round one, Kaladzic was boxing on the back foot, like I said. Kaladzic was flicking out his jab and throwing shoe shine type shots, and some of these shots were getting through, but in round one I preferred Beterbiev's aggression and he landed the harder shots. Round two was more of the same, where Beterbiev was the aggressor and Kaladzic was fighting on the back foot. Beterbiev again in round two, he lands the hardest shots, but in round two I felt Kaladzic was having more success boxing on the back foot. More of Kaladzic's shots were getting through. Now these weren't hard shots, but they were still getting through, and round two was fairly competitive. Round three, Beterbiev had a really strong round. Starts the round very aggressively, coming forwards, applying pressure, trying to land big shots, and Kaladzic is caught with a few big shots. Kaladzic then starts to exchange wildly, and Beterbiev hurts him with some heavy shots, and Kaladzic takes a knee. Kaladzic beats the count, but he's badly hurt, and you can tell he's badly hurt because basically throughout the rest of the round he was in survival mode. He was running, he was holding, he was mauling, and he was doing his very best to either stay out the way of Beterbiev or to try and neutralise him. So yeah, in round three, Kaladzic beats the knockdown, but it was a bad round for him, and yeah, he basically done his best to see out the rounds, and to his credit he did. He showed good toughness and a good chin. Round four, again, Beterbiev, very aggressive. Kaladzic still looks hurt from the previous round, and in round four Kaladzic decides to take risks and he gets involved in some very wild exchanges with Beterbiev. He actually hits Beterbiev with a good right hand, and the right hand momentarily kind of halts Beterbiev in his tracks only for a couple of seconds, but after that Beterbiev starts to knock him around the ring. Kaladzic's legs are really unsteady and he does well to see out the round. Round five was where the fight ended. Beterbiev ends Kaladzic with a lovely right hand. He basically rushed Kaladzic and threw like a chopping right hand, and the referee jumps in and immediately stops it. Some people said the stoppage was a bit premature, but looking at Kaladzic's legs, I mean, he was gone. He done really well to survive as long as he did, to be honest with you, because he was badly hurt throughout that fight. But Beterbiev, in my opinion, he looked fairly good. He looked very physically strong. His punches had a lot of power on them, and he looked like he wouldn't be denied. You know, he was fighting with a lot of hunger, a lot of aggression, and, you know, for the most part, he looked pretty good. Yeah, there's a few defensive vulnerabilities there. He was getting caught with a few silly shots coming forwards, but that's Beterbiev's style. He's always going to get caught. You know, we've seen that in his career to date with Callum Johnson, Jeff Page Jr., and fights like that. Beterbiev gets caught, but if he catches you, then it's lights out basically. But yeah, all in all, a good, solid, respectable performance from Artur Beterbiev. Now, where do we want to see him go next? Obviously, I think we all want to see unification fights. There's some great fights to be made at 175, and the beautiful thing is, a lot of these fights should get made. For example, Artur Beterbiev versus Alexander Vodzik. Both of these guys are on ESPN. Both guys are with Top Rank. Neither guy has a fight booked. Both guys are free. Both guys have an empty schedule. I mean, there's no reason not to make this fight next. The fight's a great fight. For hardcore boxing fans, it's a massive fight, but it's a fight that's never going to be a big financial success, so there's no point trying to grow it for a year's time. You might as well just make it now. You know, there's no reason that fight shouldn't happen next. That's the fight I really want to see from Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev versus Wodzik in a unification fight. Two big punchers, two great amateurs, two formidable champions. That's the fight I want to see. Failing that, Beterbiev versus Elidia Alvarez would be quite decent. Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol, but obviously Bivol is with DAZN, so that could be tricky. But that would be another unification fight and a bout between two Russians. You know, that would be great. And obviously you've got Beterbiev versus the winner of Anthony Yarde and Sergey Kovalev. That could be something to look at down the line. But the main thing is, I want to see Beterbiev stay active, but I would love for him to unify against Alexander Wodzik. That would be a tremendous fight, it really would. And like I said earlier, there's really no excuse why that fight shouldn't happen next. Because for me, that fight's never going to be a big financial success. There's no point trying to build it for 18 months. You know, that's a fight for hardcore boxing fans now, and it will still be a fight for hardcore boxing fans in 18 months. It's never going to appeal to the casual fans. If you want to make big money off that fight, have it in Eastern Europe. Now, do it now. But it's boxing, so is it going to work out like that? I mean, I'm not so sure. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we can be surprised. And if that fight got made, I would say that's one of the best fights of the year, if not the best fight of the year. It's right up there. It really is. But yeah, Beterbiev versus Wodzik, that's the fight I want to see next. Also, just to note as well, on the undercard of Beterbiev versus Kaladzic, Jerwin Ancajas made a defence of his IBF super flyweight title. He knocked out Ryuichi Funai in what was a fairly decent fight. Hopefully, Jerwin Ancajas can unify with the top super flyweights in the world. So, you know, I'm talking about guys like Juan Francisco Estrada, Kal Yafai, and people like that. And failing that, maybe even fight Roman Gonzalez. Gonzalez versus Ancajas would be a great fight. Ancajas versus Donny Nietes, another great fight. Listen, man, super flyweight, there's some great fights to be made. And again, like I said about light heavyweight, there's no reason why these fights can't really be made. None of these guys are massive money men. Just get these fights on. Give us, the fans, something to really look forward to. But yeah, Jerwin Ancajas, he won on the undercard, and I felt he looked fairly good. And that fight was actually quite fun as well, so if you've not seen it, try and find a copy of that fight on Dailymotion or YouTube. I highly recommend it. It was a good fight. But yeah, apart from that, there wasn't really anything of note on the undercard. One thing to mention, I noticed Felix Valera was on the undercard. Felix Valera is like a fringe level light heavyweight, and I wonder if they are using Felix Valera as an opponent for either Beterbiev or Wodzik. Hopefully that's not the case, because nobody cares about Felix Valera versus Beterbiev or Wodzik. We all know what we want. We all know what fight needs to be made. So let's hope the boxing gods up there smile down on us and make this fight happen. Share your thoughts below. What did you make of Beterbiev's performance? And where do you want to see Beterbiev go next? Do you want to see him unify against Wodzik? Would you like to see him fight Alvarez, Marcus Brown? That's another name I didn't mention. Dmitry Bivol, the Kovalev Yarde winner. Tell me who you want to see Beterbiev fight next. And also, I've mentioned it a couple of times in the past. If you've not checked out my Instagram, I've dropped a link in the comments below. Feel free to give me a follow. I will start to upload on Instagram more regularly in the near future. But yeah, share your thoughts below on all of the topics covered in this video. Peace.